Sorry everybody, it's Xilicks here, and welcome to another PvP build video. This time I'm going to be talking about the build I've been using on Guardian. It's a very high DPS build with a lot of survivability. So I'm just going to show you really quickly the burst damage it puts out. So one skill can take 25% of the golem's health. And this stupid elementalist is attacking it also. Whatever. But it's just a lot of damage really. And your main burst skills are going to be the 2 skill on greatsword and the 3 skill on one-handed sword. Now this build's pretty common. It is a meditation heal, block, sword focus, greatsword, DPS. But I have a slight variation to it. So yeah, here we go. The runes are 6 worm runes. It's just giving you more survivability with the vitality and a lot more damage with the 6 bonus critical damage and 3% overall damage. This is going to help a lot because it's going to give you a lot more just overall damage, because crit damage is kind of one thing that's lacking a little bit. The main thing that's lacking is precision, but there is a fix to that that I'll show in a sec. And then we're running Hydromancy on greatsword, Hydromancy on sword, and accuracy on the focus. Then with a Berserker Jewel and a Berserker Amulet. The traits are 10, 5, 30, 5, 20. So 10 we go for the Zealot's Speed, which is, well, we don't go for this, this just comes with it, which is create a symbol when you're struck at 50% health, which gives you retaliation, does a little bit of damage, and it's a light field. Then next up we have Fiery Wrath, which is increases damage against burning foes. Now obviously, if you know anything about Guardian, their passive for Virtue of Justice is every 5 attacks, you're burning. On activation, your next attack inflicts a stronger burn, like a longer one that does a lot more damage. We're going 5 into Radiance to get the activating Virtue of Justice blinds nearby foes, so whenever we activate this, it's going to be blinding foes and burning them. That also works really well with Leap of Faith, which is a blind of the same duration, and Flashing Blade, which is another blind. You're going to be blinding a lot, which is good, because blinds are kind of like a block in a way. If your enemy's blinded, they're not going to be able to hit you for the duration of the blind. Gain Aegis when you're struck below the health threshold. This works really well with our Zealot's Speed. So we're getting a block, and we're getting retaliation, and we're doing a little bit of damage whenever we're at 50% health or lower. Reduces recharge on meditations. This is good because we're using 4 meditations. Now, a lot of you may not have this specific skill unlocked, since you actually have to buy this skill with skill points, since it's one of the new heals. I'd recommend either Shelter or Sign of Resolve. The build works better with Shelter because it's a block over Sign of Resolve, but if you like the bigger heal and the Condi clear, take Sign of Resolve. Then we have Virtue of Courage is recharged when you rally. This is nice because it gives you an extra block whenever you're either revived or rallied, and you can use that to give it to your allies too. Meditations grant Fury. We're using 4 meditations here, or 3 if you don't have the skill unlocked. And Fury is good because it's 20% crit chance. In my opinion, for a Berserker build, Fury is the most powerful boon that you can have. In my opinion, it's better than Might. And then gain Might whenever you block attacks. This is nice because we have a block with our Elite skill, a block with our Virtue of Courage, a block with Zealot's Defense, and a block with Shield of Wrath. Now, if you're using Shelter, the reason why I would say go Shelter over Sign of Resolve if you do not have the meditation is just because it's another block, so while they're hitting you, you'll be gaining Might. Using meditation skills heal you. Now, this is very powerful. So here we have a 16-second 2k heal, a 36-second 2k heal, a 48-second 2k heal, and a 24-second 2k heal on top of the initial heal of Litany of Wrath. It's big, because you're going to be using your meditations a lot to get Fury, to use the utility of the actual meditation, and to heal yourself. In combination, meditations really add a lot to this Guardian build. Everything they give to you is helpful, compared to something like a Shout, where it just gives you boons, and maybe it's a stun break also. Gain Vigor whenever you deliver a critical hit. This is perma Vigor. There's no reason not to take this. The Vigor lasts for 6 seconds, and you can get it every 5 seconds. As long as you're still hitting people, which you're going to be hitting people almost the entire time, it's permanent Vigor. Next up, you have Virtues now apply the following boons. So, Justice is going to be giving us Might, on top of the Blindness, and on top of the Burning. Virtue of Resolve is going to be giving us Regeneration, on top of the healing that it provides, and everything else. And then Courage is going to be giving us Protection, I believe. Yeah, Protection. On top of the Aegis. Retaliation lasts 25% longer. Now, right now, we don't have any Retaliation except for Symbol of Wrath. However, our next trait is gain Retaliation whenever you activate a Virtue. So these two work very well together. So now, you're adding Retaliation to everything else. And you're getting a lot more utility to using your Virtues. Then now we have activating Virtue of Resolve removes conditions, so it removes 3 conditions, and its heal is stronger now. So without this trait, I'm just going to put something else on, it's at 327. Without it, it's only at 87. So Virtue of Resolve now is almost like a healing signet while it's active, which is very great. And then you can activate it for an extra heal too. So now I'm going to be talking about why the sigils are the way they are. I have Hydromancy on both the sword and the shield. Now, we're using melee weapons, so even though we have utilities, we're going to want to be in melee range the whole time, right? And so, this is just me auto-attacking right now. You can see I'm putting on the burns, I'm doing all this stuff, but whenever I switch weapons, you see that there's now chill, right? So, we're now chilling our opponent. So this is going to make it easier for us to stop people that are going to try and kite our melee. It's going to make it easier for us to stay on our target and keep that vigor up so we can use our dodges as to their full potential. Another way we can keep up with people is with Leap of Faith, Judge's Intervention, and Flashing Blade, which are all either teleports or leaps. So, really, all of the weapons work very well with the traits. And they're all high damaging weapons. The auto attack on Greatsword gives you Might. The auto attack on... Sorry about that. The auto attack on the one-handed sword is just a high damage, and yeah. So talking about the skills now, I'm going with Litany of Wrath. Now, a lot of people don't like the skill, but I'm using it because it's a meditation. So we're getting the 2,000 heal from the meditation. We're getting the 1,600 heal from the skill itself. We're getting 20% of the damage dealt is returned to you as healing. Now, this is good because we have these burst skills that do a lot of damage in a really short amount of time. So, we can use both Zealot's Defense and Whirling Wrath before that ends up, and 20% of that damage that we do heals us. So, for that 6 seconds, if you're using your skills to their full potential, you're not going to be taking much damage. If anything, you're going to be gaining health. I have Contemplation of Purity, because it converts the conditions you're suffering into boons, and it's a stun breaker. This is very nice because if you have, let's say, a necromancer fighting you, and they use Signet of Spite, you're gonna be turning those conditions into boons. this build is very strong against condition classes. Because you have the Virtue of Resolve, which is the condition clear, you have Contemplation of Purity, and then you also have Smite Condition, which cures one condition and damages nearby foes. So it will always damage foes. However, if you have a condition on you, it's going to be doing more damage. This skill can crit, and if it crits, you can hit up to like a 1.5k with just that skill, on top of the heal and the fury, and it has a very short cooldown. Next up, in a 1 versus 1 scenario, I would recommend Judge's Intervention. It does a little bit of damage and it applies burning. It's also a teleport, so you're going to be staying on your enemy almost all the time while using this skill. And it's also an AoE burn. That big radius there can hit multiple targets. One thing I would recommend is, this skill is kind of your swap out skill. If you need something like stability, you can use Stand Your Ground or Hollowed Ground. This skill, it's a meditation, but it's probably the least useful. Now, don't get me wrong, the teleport is very powerful, and the teleport's very good in a 1 versus 1 scenario. I would almost always recommend that skill. However, if you're in a team fight, you may want to consider using Merciful Intervention instead. This is not a stun break, however, it still is a teleport in a different kind of way. Merciful Intervention alone heals you for 2,000. With the meditation heals, you're getting an extra 2,000. So now it's a 4,000 heal, and you're still gaining the fury from our meditation traits. Now, the way Merciful Intervention works is you're going to be teleporting to the ally with the lowest amount of health. So this will, if you're in a team fight, be very supportive to your team. So now you're helping your allies with your virtues, and you're giving them that extra heal if you're using it. However, for a 1 versus 1 scenario, it's not that good unless you need more heal. If you need more heal, then it would be better than Judge's Intervention because it only has a 4-second longer cooldown. For the elite skill, this is kind of a no-brainer for me, but Renewed Focus, it's a block, and you recharge your virtues, which are very strong. The two books are good, but they don't really help us in this situation. Tome of Wrath does a lot of damage, yes. Just the auto attack hits, well, you can see it right there, over 1,000 per hit. And the 5 skill, which I'm not in range of, and this is going to horribly miss, does that big hit and the big knockdown. I guess it didn't miss. The other skills only cripple, weaken, might, and swiftness, and quickness for your allies. The other book is just a heal instead of damage. The Tome of Wrath is just a lot of damage and gives you retaliation. The Tome of Courage, I believe is what it's called. It has heal skills with healing boons, and it has a full heal on it with the 5 skill, and it gives you protection while using it. I feel the books aren't that useful for a 1 versus 1 scenario. However, in a team fight, they could be pretty useful. But that's up to you to decide. I would always recommend Renewed Focus, though. I feel it's just the best of the 3 elites for a Guardian in a 1 versus 1 scenario, and especially in PvP. So that's about it for the build. Now, I'm going to go over the skills again really quickly. Your 2 big damages is Rolling Wrath and Zealot's Defense. You're going to want to keep close to your enemy with Leap of Faith and Flashing Blade. You can also use Ray of Judgment, which is also blind, I forgot to say that, and it gives you regeneration. So, whenever you think they're going to burst you, this would be a good time to pop Shield of Wrath and Virtue of Courage if you have it. You're going to want to keep your blocks up, especially whenever they're doing damage to you. This is a block, however, you can still be hit from behind while using that. It's just the front where you're blocked from. Rolling Wrath, you're fairly vulnerable while doing that. So that's why I would recommend using Symbol of Wrath first, and then activating Rolling Wrath. This will give you retaliation while you have it up. So while you're using Rolling Wrath, which you're kind of vulnerable while doing since you're just spinning around, doing damage but taking heavy damage, you're going to have retaliation on you. So if they decide to do damage to you, some of it's going to be taken back to them. Binding Blade is also a very powerful pull. It's an AoE pull of 5 targets. You can pull them to you, activate your symbol of Wrath, and do Whirling Wrath. This will basically put all of your enemies in one area on top of this AoE damage. Whenever you get a lot of conditions on you, you're going to want to activate Contemplation of Purity first. If you're just fighting something like a Thief or a Ranger that's mainly putting one condition on you, like, say, Bleed, you're going to want to use Smite Condition over Contemplation of Purity. Save Contemplation of Purity for whenever you get at least 4 conditions on you. Otherwise, you'll be able to cure them off with Smite Condition and Virtue of Resolve faster. Use this as kind of like a failsafe and a stun break, or a heal if you really need it. If you're not fighting a condition class and you don't feel that you need Contemplation of Purity, I would recommend running Merciful Intervention then, because it's a better heal. The cooldown's not as... the cooldown is shorter, and although it's not a stun break, you're going to be getting a better heal from it, and if you're not fighting a condition class, then you don't need it. However, usually, you're going to be fighting people with conditions. Even if they're not using conditions, you can, like, condition damage, you can turn it to your better. For example, if you're fighting a Guardian, they're obviously going to be putting burns on you, but if you see here, I only have 50 condition damage. My burns aren't going to be the end-all be-all of the fight. However, if someone's putting burns on me, I can use that to my advantage. That's another bit of damage right there, and then that's a heal for me and extra boons. Going into the stats really fast, the power and attack aren't insanely high. The 3k attack isn't really the best. However, you're still going to be doing a lot of damage, and you're going to be having a lot of survivability. If you really do want more damage, you can sacrifice the 5 in Radiance and the 5 in Honor, and put that into Zeal, and then go for something like reduces recharge on focus skills, attacks with your great sword do an extra 5% damage and heal you. Those are all very good. When Aegis you applied is removed, it damages is good, and yeah, that's probably about it. I would either go for Focus Mastery, Zealous Blade, or Shattered Aegis. Zealous Blade would be very good with the Whirling Wrath. However, I do feel that getting the extra 50 precision and the extra healing is pretty good, and these traits are both very good. The extra blind and the extra vigor is really good for this build. But that is a way to increase your power if you really want to. The precision and crit chance isn't fantastic. You could put precision runes on, but you will be losing some survivability. You could use like 5 ranger runes, and then just another like crit chance or crit damage rune for the 6th slot. Some people like to use divinity runes. Personally, I don't think it would be the best for this. It is going to give you a lot of crit damage, but I feel like your precision and other stats wouldn't just be par enough. This also gives you 3% damage with the worm runes, and it works for me. I've been using them, and I like it. However, even though the crit chance does seem low, you are going to be getting Fury, which will be putting this up, and whenever you're holding your focus with Fury, you're going to be at 62% critical chance, and most of the time you're going to be critting. The toughness is low, especially for a Guardian. However, you're going to be at 2.5 armor almost, and that is pretty good. It's not the best, but it's decent. You're going to be having a lot of toughness, and with all the heals you have, you're not going to be really worrying about taking damage, just because you're going to be healing it off so fast. Your vitality's low. Guardians do have very low vitality. That's why we're using the worm runes to kind of bring it up a little bit. 50 Condi damage, this doesn't really matter. It does increase the damage on your burns a little bit, but it's not that good. And then the 10% condition damage is also just increasing the duration of your burns and blinds. The 20% boon duration, that's good, because it's going to be adding a little bit of time to your Fury, and it's going to be adding a bit of time to all of the other boons you're getting, say from Contemplation of Purity, your virtues, or any of the weapons that give you boons. The 50 healing power is nice. It does scale pretty well with meditation heals. It adds a little bit of healing to him. The 56% critical damage is actually good. That is very good, especially for a Guardian. Whenever you're critting, you're going to be doing 56% more damage, which is pretty insane, and you are going to be critting a lot. The 20% Virtue recharge rate is very nice. It's going to be bringing down those long cooldowns of the big virtues like Resolve and Courage. This 50-second cooldown, it seems long, but in a fight, it's not going to be that long. You're going to be able to use this a lot and get a full potential out of the Condi removal, the retaliation regen, and the passive regen, and the burst heal. So that's about it for the Guardian. I'm going to be showing some clips now of either like 1v1s or 1v2s or team fights. So yeah. Alright, yeah, so that is my Guardian build in action. If you like it, please leave a like, favorite, share, comments, whatever you want. If you want to talk about the build, maybe something that would be better for it, maybe like different runes, different sigils, different amulet, whatever you feel, just write it down in the comments and I'll take it into consideration and maybe make an updated build on it. I know there's definitely ways to improve it. Personally, I think it is very good as it is now. You can do a lot of damage, there's a lot of survivability. You could see that I could out-damage those thieves and just basically absorb all the damage they were doing. That was a very high DPS Ellie I fought too. I had a few fights with the Ellie, but I thought that was the best one that I could show. Like, there was one where they missed, like, a big hit, and I beat them by a lot, and I just didn't think that that was, like, fair to show, just because they kind of messed up. And then there was one fight where it just went on for a really long time. But yeah, so that's about it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Xilicks. See you guys next time. Kiddings, bye.